Hi, everyone. I'm going to try and keep this message brief, but know that this message is incredibly important and must be shared widely. So here it goes. Dear world, this is your chance. This is your moment to prove yourself. We are far from the days where Israel self-victimizes themselves after decades of massacres, occupation, displacement, and apartheid against Palestinians, only to have the world stand with Israel whenever Palestinians resist and fight back. We're far from the days where Israel provokes attacks on Palestine, Syria, Lebanon, and Iran, only to assume that they're not allowed to fight back, and when they do, they are labeled as terrorists by the Western world. I'm here to give you a fair warning. Get ready for a wave of Israeli self-victimization and propaganda around being attacked unprovoked. Get ready for an attempt at a viral fad campaign to stand with Israel against the terrorists that are attacking them. Get ready for Israelis to mark themselves as safe on social media and thanking everyone for checking up on them during these tough times that they're in. Get ready for crocodile tears around Israel being attacked, again in retaliation, when in reality 90+% of all the missiles get intercepted by the Iron Dome or by cowardly, traitorous Arab governments like Jordan. You're all now informed enough to know that Israel provoked Iran by bombing their embassy in Damascus, killing 16 people. You all should also be informed enough to know that by doing this, it is a declaration of war. And you should also be informed enough to know that Israel planned this because they are hemorrhaging economically, politically, and from a worldwide public perception, where they have become the ostracized pariah that the world has come to hate. And by provoking Iran through a declaration of war, they know that Iran will have no choice but to fight back, thus giving Israel a reason to call mommy and daddy to not only come save the day and back them monetarily and with endless weapons and military backup, but to also back them with their racist, dehumanizing rhetoric, condemning any nation that fights back against Israel and calling them terrorists all over Western media. Israel will now use this to attempt to stand on a moral high ground and have the audacity to say that Iran's attacks on Israel are a breach of the UN Charter and international law. Israel even uttering the words breach of the UN Charter and international law, or breach of anything, is laughable at this point, considering they, along with the US, have breached practically every single international law we could possibly think of, for not just the past 6 months, but for the past 8 decades. And the US has already started their public condemnation just a few hours after Iran's attacks. So here's my message to you all. We've spent the past 6+ months force-feeding you knowledge and evidence in order to open your eyes up to the reality of who the actual terrorists are. And it'll offend us to our core if after everything, you still think no one should fight back against the actual terrorists of our world, which is the state of Israel. The world should know better now than to fall for this self-victimization act. This is the moment where the world needs to stand up to their bullshit, to show all of humanity that actions must have consequences. They no longer can quite literally get away with murder and stand above the law completely unchecked. Because if we let them get away with it again this time, that is the message you'll be sending your children and their children's children for the many years to come. That Israel and the Western world can do whatever they want to us, and we just have to sit there and take it. So you best believe I will now be watching intently on how you all react from here on out, given the news of late. Because if you still stand with Israel and their right to defend themselves, and not anyone else's right to defend themselves against Israel, then I'd like you to say that with your full chest, and don't you dare stutter while saying it. Because at this point, that would be a public declaration of war against humanity.